Came to my work here. I was just there. In fact, my best game which I used to play was in goalkeeping. And the people didn't know me that I can play any position. So I started with goalkeeping, and I was very good. We used to play this table tennis, rubber ball, and what have you. So it was all started from Vara D, what we call Vara D. So we started off from there. We used to have a team called the Aburokole team, and that was how we started our football.
That was in which year?
That is in 1966 there. I was a young boy, but I was mostly keeping in the goal because of my size, and rubber balls could not pass me. Even tennis ball, I would just get it. So I started as a goalkeeper, but later on, I started playing outside. And my first time I played I was with my stepmother, and she was a vernacular teacher at Reiki Primary School. So that was the first time when I played my first game, playing a number 9 in a school whereby you see big people play. But I was just a tiny number 9 there. It was my first game, and I scored a goal. It was very fabulous, and I just saw girls tearing me. Some were pulling me left and right. Others were taking me like a baby. In fact, that was where I started my football. Then it was from there that from Reiki, it all happened that my mentor was again from Alua Primary School, Oluko. We had the late Badanyanya. He was one of the West Nile players. He was used to play number 11 for West Nile region. So by then it was a district. Now we call it region of late. But by then it was he was my games master, and he used to allow me to play with the juniors, middle team, and then the seniors. And he gave me that name Adrapi, which then went very well, and I still maintain that Jogo name. It all happened that in my school, Alua, my headmaster looked at this name Jogo as a Muyai name. And when we went to pay school fees, he refused that name. So I just had to use my grandfather's name, that is Okuti. And my Christian name is Stanley. So it was from there that I started my football. I left Alua. Then from Alua, I joined the Moni Primary School. In primary school, I was playing with the seniors. I was playing any category. It was from when that I went to senior secondary school, which I was. In fact, my first choice was in Koboko, but they took me to Kololoises, and that is the school of soccer. And it is where KCC used to get most of their good players. And it was from there that I started now training with the senior team. Kololo was in fact, it was the Chitende of during those years, because so many good players came from there, and most of them were in the national team. People like Peter Mazinga, Rashid Modini, Paulo Kata, all these were players from Colores, and they were really good players. So it was from there that I now had to, in fact, the first year they made me to play in the school team, but just because of academics, I declined the whole thing. The 4 years, I didn't do anything. So I was just there. It all happened that I had an uncle who was ASP. By then, he was called Nahor Leti. Now, he picked me, then went to Lugazi. Now, after hearing the name of Kololo, our coach there, a Lulu coach, Ben, was called Ben, he decided to make me play in by then they used to call it USF, Uganda Sugar Factory. He made me play in that team. So I started my serious playing there, together with players like this Sadiq Wassa, who was our goalkeeper. And then there was this Adam Wenger, who was also a Kakwa boy. All these are Kakwa boys. They were in that team. So then for us, we remained in Lugazi for 1 year, and then after which we came to, my uncle was transferred to Zambia Police Barracks as the OC outside duties. It was from there that me and Mike Leti had to join Uganda Police. So we had to join Uganda Police and play for Uganda Police. I was a tiny man, but I had the football in my head. But Mike was was a striker. And then it all happened that one time we were lacking number 7. What pushed me to train as a number 7, because he was a very good coach. He was a left footer, so he trained me as a number 7. And I started playing Uganda Police. It was not easy, not until I was not given these lances. So one time Obua just came and then asked me, Leti, used to call me also Leti, have they registered you? I said no. He just picked me, and then they took me to police headquarters, and indeed from there they gave me They took my photograph direct to FUFA. They gave me the lances. I started playing for Uganda Police. And it was from that time that I played in Uganda Police for 3 years, and it all happened that I was now getting used to playing football, mature football. So it was then I finished my S4. So after I finished S4, I was to go for a technical school at Kisubi Technical. So Kisubi Technical took me there, and Oboa to release me, and I joined Kisubi Technical for carpentry and joinery, and it was from there that Uganda Clays Kajansi, they were looking for players to come and play in their first division team. So I got that chance. They picked me. They took me for trials at King's College Budo. I did very well. They picked me for that team. I did very well with that team, and I was the man. In fact, I was one of the most influential players in Uganda Clays. And that was in 1984, then 85. 84, we lost only 1 point to Spear Motors. Then in 85, the coach told us, at least let us get to know how it is to play in first division. I said, no, if chances comes on our way, we should hit, and then we go to super. So with my determination, I was playing now in midfield. From police, I was playing number 7. Then from that hard game which we used to play in police, they pushed me to play number 6. So number 6, you see how hard it is. You play 6, and they want you to go.
You're the heart of the team.
You are the heart of the team. You are a defensive midfielder. You have to defend, and then you also have to supply. So it was not easy. So from there, when I joined Uganda Clays, I became now, in fact, I was just moving the field like a wind because people could not match up with my standard. Because in the police, we used to go very early in the morning, like as you go in office, by 8 you're in the field, and then you come back at lunchtime. And they will not have that appetite of eating because it was too much running. And they were training in one of the largest fields in Uganda here, which used to be a police Kibuli training ground. It was very large, so we were training there. At times of work would just give us play 3 aside, you find the whole field. So it was from there that I just had that fitness. Now when I joined Uganda Clays, I said, no, let us play. No, it was through my influence that we managed to push that team to super. That was in 85. And it was 85 when they saw that the team was doing very well. From my assist, from my hard work, they now had to call on me for under 20. That was in 86. So we're in the camp alongside people like Majiru Musisi, people like Jackson Mayanja, James Kirinya, and there was Eliakim Matovu. All these were during that under 20. So it all happened that liberation war. No, this Museveni war. Call it what? The liberation war was the first 69. So it was this Museveni war when it came in 86. We were in the camp, so they said, no, they have to dispatch us. So I didn't have that chance to go out, but then we were to go to Somalia and then play in that team. So that was how my football came in. So one time, through Asmani Luboa, together with the Kiza, he also wanted me to join Uganda Airlines. I went there for trials, but things were not going well for me because I was the only northerner, and other people were just there. They were looking at me as apart from Joseph Wapamba, who was the captain of Uganda Airlines, who was most he was just on me because of my type of food. So I left, and then it became a bit, after promoting this team, Uganda Clays to Super, we were just there for 1 year. So the problem came in, it was my coach who made me lose appetite because after promoting the team, when it comes to playing most of these senior teams like Nile, mention it, so many of these good teams, the coach could leave me out. In fact, not until I had to leave football for something like 6 months. And those people from FIFA just looked at me because they knew my potential. They sent in Charles Masempe, who was the referee, to come and look for me, together with Ben Omoding, who was one of the best coaches in Uganda, with the Lance's Cup, and it was the grade B in Europe. So he was one of the best coaches. So they said they used to think my name Okuti is a Mteso name. He thought I was a Mteso, but I was a Lubara. So that because in Buganda they call Okuti. It sounds Iteso than Luganda name. So when they went there, they saw I was very busy in the workshop. They could not believe it. Not until they said, no, I should come back in the field. I had to come in the field. And I tried to make the team remain in Super, but it was too late. So that was when the team was relegated. Then I had to resort to coaching. The coaching was my first team I coached was Loeza FC, which once even went to Super. I was the first coach of that team. And some of the boys whom I pushed in the national team from that Loeza football club there was a boy called Ijangwe. He was from Kitovu Secondary School. Right now I'm talking is in America. And I was sick. There was this Senoga. They used to call him Senoga. He left my team and then joined Express. And he also joined the national team. He was one of the best number 9s in Uganda also. So it was from there I picked interest in coaching. I was doing a little bit of refereeing, but I picked interest in coaching because I'd got vast experience now in coaching from certain, because at Kisubi Technical, they gave me that work as a coach. So I was coaching with that experience which I got from Uganda Police through the Shobo. I was now using it to coach the school team, and they were doing very well. So I just had to pick that interest. Then I had to carry on, not until in 202. I had to leave Kajansi. I came back to Arua because my brother then was sick. They told me to come back and look after home. So my first team which I met in Arua was what they called the Mechora FC. It was one of the best teams here in this region. Now, Achikule by then was also one of the coaches within Western who was well known. We had to team up with him to push this Mechora, and they started playing a very good game in the whole of Northern region. They were doing very well. So people played like Olemas were there, Rasid Onjimas were there. So these were the plus there was this Kinis, Yabas, and whatever. So we had to assemble that team. It was one of the best teams. So I picked that interest, and then people started seeing me as a potential. I said, no, I should not leave Western team, remain there. I had to get also to secondary schools. And my first team, which I started coaching, I wanted Ombachi, but Ombachi was very far from me because I was in Mvara. So I had to join Mvara Senior, but then they were training at Borifa. I had to start with them. And that was 202 when the Caesar Okutis were there. He was a young boy. So I also picked interest in him because he was one of the best players during that time. The youngest is energetic, and they was playing good football. So I had to concentrate on those boys. They did very well. And then from there, Natura was also doing very well. Not until one time when we went for finals to promote the team to go to Super. And they were playing with the team from Gulu, and the match was at Adjumani. So we lost to Moyo Town Council, which and then was promoted to Super. And then Moyo also called on me to go and start coaching that team in Super. So I had to go there to Moyo. I left Natura. So I was with that team for almost 7 months, being under the guidance of Ambassador Philip Edro. I understand he's late, but I've not established. He was not the one who convinced me to join that team. I was now as a coach. I coached that team for that 6 months, not until I say I had the family was here, and I was that side. It was a bit very hard. You see, the football during those years was not. It was you sacrifice. It was not of late whereby a coach will come and then sign a contract whereby they give you money for the work done. It was just a total sacrifice because ours was, we also wanted our boys and our region to have that national cake in the national team. I think that was always my cry. And it has always been happening. And that's why now you can see. It was from there that I had to come back. From Moyo, I had to start off with the Arua Public Secondary School. By then, Arua Koboko was still under Arua. And I started with Arua Public. In these school games, we went in the finals. We beat most of the schools, and then we lost to Koboko in penalties. But then they were taking only one in Coca-Cola. So Koboko went. And my team from there, it was the same year that Mbarasini also picked some of my 6 players. Players like Adro, players like Charlie, all these players there, they swifted them there, and that was the beginning of the Mvara. The current Mvara Senior Secondary School football was when they picked these boys of mine from Republic, and they also picked me together to go and start with Mbara. And if you hear that Mbara has been doing very well, the base was directly. So I did the level base to make sure that Mbara had to play, and it became academy for most of the clubs. And it was, I cannot remember that year, when most of the players from Mbara were the ones which we used to promote Ethiopia Hills to go to Super. But then the Caesars, the Adrosabiris, they were all there, including Charlie's. All these were the boys now whom we used, and then they made now that team to go as far as we were in Guru. In fact, we had won that game. But I think there was one of my players who didn't understand the rule of the game, whereby he was given a red card, and all of a sudden, as he was marching out, started removing his boots inside the field, which was against the rule. And that was when they gave the Boroboro team equalized, and we went in a draw. And these boys came back, and usually embarrassing. What happens is, when they come for the first from the holidays, they give them exams, and they fix that match. They offer Hills with the Boroboro during that time, so we could not go with those boys. That was the time when Boroboro had the chance to qualify, to remain, and to go to Super. So it was after that year was when we started again with Ethiopia. Then we pushed, and that was the reason why Ethiopia went in the team, and it now played in Super for only 1 year. The reason being that they had problems here and there, mostly financial and even administration, because most of our games here in the Western region, it's administration and the finances. If the administration is very poor, because here people take football as personal. One will come up and then say, "This is my team." Instead of saying our team, he will say, "This is my team." So anything concerning finances, one man handles it. So that's why our teams are now getting the biggest problem. So from Ethiopia Hills was when I started now concentrating mostly in secondary schools and institutions. Then it was from Bora Senior, I've been at times even helping NTC Money. I was used to help them, and then there was a time I even got the national trophy with them from Kaliro when we went and then played that way. So that's some of the teams which I coached. And then apart from that was MOOBs. I also coached the MOOBs, and they were not doing very well. They came for me. I started pushing them.
And as if you're still the coach of MOOBs up to now.
No, they brought another coach last year, so I cannot say I'm still the coach. Because usually I want you to come to me, and you tell me that I want you for this year. I don't want to force myself in the coaching. Because I only want you to come. If it is a form of contract, you come, and then we discuss the terms. And then whether you want me for 2 years or 1 year, it's you to decide. I don't want to force myself in any club of any institution of this nature. So currently, I'm just there. And if you look around, I'd wanted to retire, but I cannot retire because my blood is full of football.
I know that.
And if I retire, that means the whole Western region will go. So I was in the opinion that all these big clubs, let them also think in terms of legends, because these legends play an important role from the experience which they get. They could be helping where football is going wrong. Even if that verbal advice, it's more of important than just putting me as a coach there. I can sit behind the coach and tell you, this is not how things are done. This is how things are supposed to be done. So that we see to it that our football in the Western region flourishes, and then we need to push in more players outside. Currently, I'm talking, I've got many good boys who are playing outside. Ajaibo was in the Vara Boys. He's now playing in Ethiopia. We have Solomon Ovoyo, he's playing in Italy. Idia, he's playing in Italy. So Ajiga is in Qatar. So many of these good boys, they are doing very well outside there. So recently, some of them approached me. They said, "Coach, you have done enough for us. They have not been paying you, but you have sacrificed yourself. We want your number. We want you to get us some numbers of these players whom you coached, so that we need to sit together with you one time, and then we see how can do about how can go about with some of the things." I think it is welcome, but I have not asked if it is you who came for me. well, if
It's
you
a
want to give me
blessing.
something, it is a blessing.
Yeah.
In appreciation, I will say thank you.
Yes.
And I will also pray for you to get more
Mm.
so that you carry on with football. Because there are some who really appreciated me for one thing. One, I had one who was from Mombati, Brian, he's now working with the finance bank.
Mm.
That boy, when he came from Mombati, he did not football. But when he joined Varasina, I polished him.
Mm.
And then he became one of the most influential players. Now when it came to time for him to go to, he was playing for Bara Boys, I kept mentoring him. And then he joined Nkumba University, free education out of football. So later on, when he was graduating, he sent me a message which made me really shed tears because I've never seen a message of that nature.
Mm.
That Coach Jogo, I'm graduating today, not because I'm supposed to graduate, but you made it possible for me to graduate because of the football you taught me. So I can play in any position in any club. So I felt I've done some job. But it made me even shed tears. I didn't know that I was doing a great job. I thought I was just making boys play football for fun. But later on, he appreciated me by just sending me that message. That message played a very important role for me. I really take it as something which is very serious. Because if someone appreciates what you have done, indeed, it's
Sign of blessing.
It's a sign of blessing.
Yeah.
And I ended up, may God bless you in whatever you are doing. I think God is blessing me in whatever I'm doing. So that's how football is in our region. But I still expect we should do more.
All right.
I still believe I can even help this. Of late, I like watching under 12 because their football, I really look at them as the nursery bed for our Western region. Right from Germany up to Aluruland. Because there are so many good players in Aluruland. And if you look at, if I gauge myself, I would say the best good players I got from Aluruland, followed by Aringa, and then followed by Maracha. Then Terego follows in. Then, no, before that, the Koboko, I put Koboko together with the Maracha, because there are so many good players in the Koboko, and then good players. And then some other region which I've seen, which is a bit lagging behind, is Vora and the Aivu land here. We don't have so many good players. It's mostly people who come from other districts who have been polishing football. Otherwise, this is how I see football. So we need our football to flourish. And how do we do it? I want these young clubs. Let them come for advice. We can give them more. We can at least try to go there for 1 or 2 days lecturing for them, and they can polish from there. Football is friendship. Football is just a game which we need to keep going, not until we perish out of this world.
It is true. I think one day I remember inviting you at Green Forest, but I think due to our work, because we are all technical people, I and Mr. Stanley is a carpenter by professional. I do landscaping, paving, compound designing, concrete making. So we met in a field whereby, like, I saw some of his work quality. But now here the question, because I at times, like me, I miss being a professional player because of parental guidance. They used to think football is spoiling kids. So what is the best advice could you give to parents in order to maybe release? Because we have, some of us have a potential of like opening up an academy, but you find parents are not sure. Did you ask them maybe to buy training kits for the kids? They still don't know football. How could you advise them?
I'll just go straight to the point. One, let Western region emulate from Jagasan. Jagasan came from a family where people didn't know much about him. Now, young as he is, he started playing from young team. So, if the parents were just people who were arrogant, maybe stop such a kid from playing football and what have you, by this time, Jagasan wouldn't have been in Libya. Now, the fact is that our people look at football as a game which is of no use, but it goes with age. So the earlier the better. If you can mean to capture some of these young boys at the tender age, which they call golden age, if you can get those boys at that age, you train them the basics of football. leave out this issue of just going play football for fun. Basics, let every kid at the age of 12, 13, 14, let them know the basics. After knowing the basics, you'll find that they put them into practice. Then after putting the practice, you will find they will excel. And every game which they play, like you might be going watching a game somewhere, you look at a player who knows how to really ball distribution, ball control, perfect passes, accurate passes. You just judge from there that maybe someone is behind this. So our parents should come up. Football is nothing but it's of late it is commercialized.
Yeah.
At the moment you push your kid to go to other places, it can even leave you from school fees. It can leave you from so many things. So long as we come up together, we shall have the best of it out of our. And I always take our region, Western region. If you look at Western region, I started looking from Western region, not as a Western region. I started looking Western region right from Nigeria. I come to Cameroon. I come to Congo. And then we are once in Congo. That means we are the football best. So why don't we really get that chance? Why don't we? A talent is God-given. God has given someone a talent. Why can't you work on it? The people who give this talent to work are we. Now if you make us become redundant, what will happen of tomorrow? You will again be complaining that it is Buganda currency, not Uganda currency.
Yeah.
So these things come in. Why? Because you have failed to give your kids to the right people to do that. I bring one example of San Francisco. The auntie came to me when I had recruited him for the job fetches. That this boy, you see, this boy does not go to school. I said, Madam, there's one thing which I want you to know. God has given Samson Sissoko the talent. This boy is very exceptional. He loves the game. He will even do anything with the ball. So, yes, I want you to give me only 1 year with this boy. I'm going to transform this boy to become one of the good players. With the job fetches. But how did it go 1 year? It was 3 months. The boy was called the national team. Why? Because he was the top scorer. In 3 months, Samson Sissoko had 6 goals. In fact, I was even preparing him for Coca. There was the Uganda Breweries vehicle which they were giving for the best player of the season. But then Caesar was fighting with Brian Omoni, and then there was Samson Sissoko, and then there was this one who was in the Villa. There was a boy Buembo. No, not Buembo. There was a boy in the Villa.
Andrew Fembo Mukasa?
No, there was. I've forgotten the name. There were only 3, but then Caesar was already in the national team. But Omoni was still struggling in KCC. He joined KCC in the last game, in the second round. So this one in the Villa could not match up with the Samson Caesar because he was the top scorer. So it was from that Omoni came from nowhere, picked that vehicle. It hurt me because that was Caesar's vehicle. It was his vehicle. And how does it come about? It comes from what was that talent which God has given. A talent is very expensive. Very expensive. You cannot buy it. That's why in Europe people are buying it with a lot of money.
Yeah.
A talented player is bought in dollars, in a lot of money. Signing that is already, you are buying a player. Our people should come up. We should not be lagged behind.
All right, because let's first come back to our script, and then we talked about comparing the football of those days and the current football in West Nile. Where do you rate it? And in terms of improvement or challenges, where do you see it coming?
Football in Western region is now going its roads. Some of the challenges is administrative. One, to become a football administrator, you must have gone for formal course, football management course, so that you know how to manage a team. But this is our Western where someone comes from nowhere. He just forms a team, he goes and picks players here and there. I'm the manager. No technical know-how. So that's already a challenge. Because you get the team for 1 year, you promote it, it goes to another level. The other year, the team is nowhere to be seen. Now what comes in? You have ruined the future of the young kids. They are nowhere to be seen. They will start loitering here looking for clubs, and you have tied them with the license. So it becomes a very big problem. That's one. Then, number 2 is coaching. You don't play, you can play in other clubs, and then you come and then you say, I'm a coach for a team. Are you qualified for that club? Have you ever had that coaching course to make you to qualify to coach a team, to bring up someone who doesn't know football to someone who knows football? So these are the areas. That means West Nile football is now, you can even see by action. Ondupraka was there. Who is Ondupraka? Vara Boys was in big league. Where is Vara Boys now? So these things are going. We had so many good teams. They are going. They are going. I think the only team which I've seen in our region, which is still doing very well, one of the oldest teams is Spider Black Angels. It's an old team. It is still there to stay. It is there to stay. Why? Because they know how to manage the team. I started following them a long time ago because we were playing the same region with them. I know them better. So this is where football is. Now you can see teams are coming up. Now during our good years, during those years, we used to have parastatal bodies, companies employing players. But currently,
None of the
it's not there. It's not there. You'll find they will just look at you, you join Uganda Police. They'll give you that salary of Uganda Police, and then there's much allowance they'll put on top of that. Now, you join Lint Marketing Board, Coffee Marketing Board, UCB, Nile, all those things, they used to be there, but now they are not there. Now, anyone comes, an individual. Morris will come that I have a team. I'm the manager, so I'm the one controlling. Finances, everything comes all Morris. So, are we progressing or we are declining in our football? Now, so many of our good boys here are also getting those challenges because of money. You'll find a school will come from nowhere and then comes and then pick some of our boys here who's supposed to be playing here. They'll take them to some of these schools in Chitende, and others go to Masaka, some others go to other schools. Then eventually, these boys get scattered there. First term, they are playing for the school team. Then second term, they are no longer to be seen. And then automatically what happens? They lose the interest of the game. So these are all challenges. But during those good golden days, those things will not be there. You'll play in your region there. And again, during those good golden days, I can remember very well how to select the national team was not how they are selected of late. And that's why now we are struggling at least to have the national cake. Our boys should go there. They should go and also have that share. If you look at the Ugandan football, it has been mostly northern region. The Paddy Oketis, the Nsoboas, David Ortiz, the Lewa Dras, who are making the backbone of Ugandan team. Now, and these were coming from, some of them were coming from here. Now, do we have that bulk number in the national team? Now, it has to start off from here. Now, Ndubaraka is almost coming from super to big league. Now, next time you'll find out, are we progressing or we're coming down? Now, we have gone an extra of getting coaches from other regions to come and coach here. Who are those coaches after all? Someone can come with that paper that I'm a coach A, B, C, D, but does that coach qualify you to really coach a team of this nature in our region? Our DFCs, they're supposed to see those things. Because our football will progress when we get our own trained boys within here. They will use the local language, then the boys will understand. Because there are some boys who are talented, but they cannot speak English. You'll find it becomes very hard for you to tell him that do this in English, and then he will understand. So if one tells you in the local language, one will understand it better. So this is how we are getting those challenges. And then during the 70s, national team used to be selected right from the grassroots, where you start from the parish level. You start from there. You will spring from there. You will come to county level. County level, you come then up to the region whereby, and there is already a sieve which will receive a useless player, and they'll pick the top seed. They will pick them. So by the time West Nile selects his team, Lango selects his team for Northern Region, Gulu will select his best team. But for you to play in Uganda national team, whether you are playing in Manchester United, whether you are playing in Arsenal, you need to come and play in your region. So those were the restrictions. So by the time you do that, there was nothing like having a technical team to come and select the team. It is the coach to come there with his book. He will sit there. He will not see from Eastern region, number 4. And then number 4 from Northern region, from Eastern region, Western. Buganda,
Yes.
and then Central.
Yes.
Then from there, he'll just note, it's the coach to pick his team. Not of late whereby they'll say, Morrissey is a good player. Just because maybe Morrissey is a friend of so many, and then this is how our football is going, and it's going to affect us also, Western region here. And then on top of that, at times officiation. Officiations in some regions, at times, I saw it with my own eyes. We're playing in Coca-Cola at Kabale, and it was Mbara Senior versus Masaka. They only want Mbara to win the game, to qualify among the best 16. And they were 1-1. Now we got a penalty. The referee picked the ball. No, the referee picked the ball, went and he put in the ball, that spot, penalty spot. Now, the penalty kicker just moved back. He was going to kick the ball. Now the whistle went that it is a goal kick. So, with evidence, is that how we go about with football? Is that how we go with football? So, these are some of the things which at times makes it very hard for us to at least get the best team out of our region. Even in some other areas, though the thing happens that way, but here it happens. Like one time I was even with the Bara boys, went and then played with Iganga. What happened was, when you make, then there comes 2 balls in the field.
That must happen in the big league.
So, why? Now, are we playing for fun, or we're playing to promote the game in our region, as well as in some other areas, so that our national teams will be well policed, and then this will also go for World Cup. So these are some of the areas.
This I was going to play for other schools in Central and something like that. I have a good example whereby these players, they finished Form 6 last year at Timbara. Unfortunately, this year they went and played for Teso College, whereby they won the trophy. But now going for nationals, Amus, they could not go for nationals because Amus had wanted also these players. So like, they only played for a shorter term, then they disappeared. So for me, I'm trying to look at back to secondary games. Why don't we be jealous and maintain these kids and we give them the same scholarship that they do give? Okay? I think we should be a little bit jealous whereby we maintain these kids. But this is a system whereby I followed some schools, even in Vara itself. They try to play a game whereby they give you a scholarship, but later on, if your age is aged up, they remove the scholarship. Why don't these schools give full bursary? They say you're starting from senior 1 up to senior 6. No matter what, because of your talent, I think our schools are also doing some mistakes, and this is where these central guys are taking opportunities.
Yeah. Take advantage of us. Like
Because
like Chitende,
look at Chitende, look at Gombe. We have very many athletes. We have very many talented kids that I so far followed. But they end up, and after going up there, they market the name of the school. Then later on, they also leave them, because what these schools want is the marketing of their names. Now, if you don't give scholarship, full bursary to a kid, how would you market your players? Okay. Caesar Samson Okute, I think, and Bogere, they tried something funny, telling these people, give these kids full bursary.
Okay, Coach Jobe, let's first talk about the marketing bit of it. You talked mainly about things being just done on a willing basis, but let's talk about the marketing aspect. If you try to compare the marketing aspect of those days and compare to the one of late, you remember, where now in the current generation is more of money.
Money, yeah. It's just money.
Now, comparing that, how do you see it?
Now, of late, it's only money which speaks. And then a player will not play in a club, not until he signs that contract.
Yes.
And those contracts during those years were ended, and the FIFA also wants to get that contract signed, and it must be properly done, such a way that if anything, you can raise a complaint, and then that's how things go. But of late, I've seen it is spoiling most of our young talented players, because the club can mean to tie you because of that. They bring you from a club, and then they don't give you that much time. Then automatically, the money, because you will get money from your playtime. One does not give you the playtime. How do you expect now you to get money? Because a good club will see you when you get enough playtime. So these are some of the things which at least we see to it that there's a lot to do. Now people are now focusing on money, and indeed they deserve it because things are changing. Even in worldwide, it's all and nothing but money. And again, for those good clubs in Europe, they are better because they have an agent. But for us here, we don't have those agents. So at times you can sign a contract and nothing happens out of that. But in actual sense, it's supposed to be for you to go and sign a contract of this nature. There should be a form whereby they want to know where you started your football. So assuming that they are taking you from KCC team to go and play in Arsenal, they will look at KCC secondary school club. They will want you to list all those names of those clubs, such way that where you went there was through the step you took was from here to make you go there. So that you, the first step, they will give that percentage to also the team where you started off with. So those are some of the things. But here it's a bit, a player will just come and then 6 million, yes, I'm signing, you sign. It's just direct contact.
I think it's a direct contact, and at the same time, it's also like the way I'm seeing it, on my opinion, it's like kind of a kickback, because if you look at some of the players who are being called in the national team, for me, I still don't agree that these players, some of them are unmarried, like they selected them unmarried, because some of them are playing outside fine, but we are not following them, because the marketing of those days that I'm talking about, if you look at Dennis Obua, who used to play in Scotland, if you look at Hassan Mobiru, who was in a certain team in Sweden, at least every weekend or every week they are being published in the newspapers of Scotland. That means our players are doing better. But nowadays, I don't see anything of such kind. I think it still go back to the point that is our football kind of dying, or is now about the uncles and the aunties and kind of selection?
Yes, the fact is it is dying, because if you look at, as I told you earlier, if you don't get the really basics, you cannot achieve that European football. That's why you see them, some of these players in some of these well-organized clubs, they'll tell you to go on loan. Why do you send a player who has signed for you to go on loan? That means his performance is not good. Two, we might be looking for a number 9. We don't look at number 9 only in one area. We look at number 9 in the whole world. One out of the 10, they will look at you as a player. Where is your weakness? How good are you on the left? How good are you on the header balls? How good are you on the right? How do you balance the field? Are you always on one side, or you balance the field left or right? So they look at advantage and disadvantage. So if you don't get the basics from grassroots, you will never play football. You will even go to Europe just by names. That's why there was a time, one of our best players, this one who plays in Lango, who also played in KCC.
That one
This
is
young boy, left footer. He went in one of the
Alan Okello.
Alan Okello.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said his football is not there. Because he's playing his own football, not the instructional football, whereby they give you instructions.
You need to amend it. Yeah.
So all those things comes in. Now, there are some of these simple rules. We have, in the Bible, we have 10 commandments. And the 10 commandments, you must follow them. Don't kill, don't do this, don't do this. So in football, there are also 10 commandments. Do you know that all those 10 commandments?
As a player.
As a player. Do you know them? And then you're going to play in Europe. If you don't know those things, are you going to manage it?
I think
you can't.
In Austria, that the training was too hard for him, so he felt
You can't, because the 10 commands will guide you. Don't let the ball bounce near you. So all they are simple rules, but you have to follow them. So tomorrow, when you're in the field, it will just come in your mind automatically. What should I do? Those 10 points, the commandments, I need to follow them. So these are the guidelines. It will keep you always when you're playing.
So you're telling me that those are the reasons why most of our Western-based players who can go out, that's the reason why they're kind of struggling.
That's the thing, because it also comes from the type of coach which you have. Huh? I don't mean that I'm the best coach.
Yes.
No, I'm also an average coach. But time comes in. I had Eturude, who was the under-20 coach, under-20 captain. I had Gift Ali Gigi. I trained him in Natura. He became the captain for under-20. I had Idia, under-20. Now you start asking yourself, why? Because I give them those guidelines. They know what to do. So those are the basics. If you don't get those basics, when you lose the ball is in your possession, you attack.
No.
All those things, if you don't get them, you cannot play football.
I think
Let's look at this point of view. Let's talk about the players who currently are out of West Nile. And most of these players that you're mentioning these are players who are still very young. They're still at the youthful stage. And you rightly said, they went through your hands. And the people who normally take these players out are kind of different people.
Yeah, they are different people.
What's the general idea like?
No, the thing is, I always been advising them, let them get agents. Because if you get an agent, things become properly done. But if you go just by yourself, someone will look at you and say, that's like coaching. I can't go in a team that I'm a good coach. I've been coaching this and that. No, you come for me. Then our terms will be very clear, and then I will see how I can go about with my coaching, because I've been honored. Like you have called on me to come in this Sararights, because you knew I've been coaching. Now, all those things also pay. So, if our boys, like I was with Ajaib, I handled Ajaib in Vara Boys. So I knew him as one of the best goalkeepers, and he didn't know. They didn't want to register him. I just went for Ajaib. I said, you are a national player. Whether you like it or not, you come to Vara Boys. He came, indeed, he came. Then it was from there that we started with him. Then, eventually, when he got himself playing for the national team, when we were playing with Algeria, he could not believe it. He said, what the coach told me, indeed, it has happened. And my last advice for him is, I don't want you to come back to Ugandan football. Go in South Africa or go to northern Uganda, so that you have to advance your football. So all those things comes in.
You talked of something very nice about our coaching staff. In West Nile or northern Uganda at large, we have few qualified coaches. Most of them are CAF D. CAF C. So. And then, because I looked at a very good example of Calvary Medical that qualified, and now they are looking for a coach, whereby the two coaches do not qualify to play in the Super League, in the Uganda Premier League. What is the best advice? Because at one point I talked about this thing and I said, why don't we also as a club we learn how to maybe push these other people to go?
You see, there's one thing which I've always been saying. I got a diploma in North American football. It is a grade 3. I also went for higher level coaching course, where I'm supposed to be coaching super division teams during those times. And our instructor was this Zambian national coach, where these players perished, the Kalusa Balwa's team. So that was my coach, instructor. So all what happens is, if you look around of late, this information is not being passed. That means coaching to go for CAF B, you'll find it very hard. And then there are some other people who don't want to pass this information. So it becomes very hard for me to know and you to know that there's a coaching course going on. So that's why we have very few coaches. For instance, I was the chairman of Arua district coaches. Now what I did was, I went for Borin, who is now coaching police. I came for Samson Sizokuti. I came for Monday. I came for Omari. And then I brought them back. I said, hey, you come. You are once my players. You come. Let us. Because the best,
Samson has got a place at Pakwazi Youngsters as a coach at the moment.
I don't know. I don't know. But the fact is that we should be advancing in this coaching from stage to stage. Now, the fact that that coach who promoted the team should always be kept because he knows the players better. So they put him on the technical team. Meanwhile, let them give him chance to have that coaching course. Because if he can prove himself to push a team to go to Premier.
Could it be the downfall of Arroy Hill? Because when this guy came and promoted them, then they had to let him go. Could it be the downfall where it's part of the cause?
Who?
This guy who came and coached Arroy Hill, what was his name?
Robert.
Not Mbabazi, the one who promoted Arroy Hill.
Osen Balang.
Hussein Balango.
So he's the one who pushed the team.
Yeah.
So at least they should give him that chance because surely it pays.
Yeah.
Because someone who knows all those players' weaknesses, he can become in the technical team. Despite the fact that you get a coach of that nature who has that paper, let him sit in front of it. But the technical team should be well boosted with the people who have the knowledge of the game, so that if he goes wrong, say, this is how my team is to play, let us do ABCD. Being a coach is not the most important thing, but to have a good technical team will guide the team. That's why if you look at Europe, if you can see people, coaches like Klopp, when they score a goal, you find all those technical, they come and then they hug themselves. Why? Because you are making us earn more money because we are still maintaining our position in the team. So that's the ethic.
Yeah.
But here for us, someone feels big
He's the
because
one.
I'm the head coach. Being a head coach is nothing. But the most important thing is having those
Building
people,
the
building a
technical
technical team must be people enlightened. That's why you see a really coach is under pressure during the match times. But those people who sit near that small TV, those are the people who are playing the game. He will come and then tip information to the coach that these people are playing this system. Now they are trying to penetrate on this side. Let us try to block this side and then use that side. So the system they are using is this. Let us use this system to counteract them so that we balance the game. So all those things should come in. That's how I look at things.
All right, coach. Also, let's leave that and we'll proceed to some of the football that currently is happening in Ugandan football. Let's talk about the Moses Magogo era. From Mulindwa to Moses Magogo. And remember, he has been elected newly for another 4th term in office.
Exactly.
Let's look at the years that he has been in Ugandan football. Is there development under Moses Magogo, or is there was kind of some kind of direction taken by Molindo to see that Ugandan football develops?
Okay, you asked me a question that the old football with the new football. But if you look at how these people are administering football, there's still a lot to do. There's still a lot to do. When I was coaching Moyo, this coach, the Serbian, was coaching Villa. So we are almost friends with him. We know each other very well. And I know the type of system which he uses, the type of football which he plays and what have you. So the fact is that why our football is declining is we go and look for coaches of so many places. Uganda's best coach has been from Germany, Pape. So Ugandan football is mostly German football. Now you go and bring someone from Serbia, even if you have got a very well organized, even the FIFA president, what have you, our football is going to change.
But the numbers, the best football is from England.
The best football from England, but the Germans. That's where Uganda went to. The best record of Uganda was during those years. Because Pape was, every time was there. And that's what Redemption boys to tell us. He calls on you today in the morning. Lunchtime you are not there. He has a team. He will not even push you. So you need to come. So those were the things. But if you look at now with the administration, our football would have been going up. But the fact is that, can you tell me a player who is playing in Premier in Uganda? Tell me why.
Nobody.
Can you tell?
Nobody.
Why?
Most of them play in the League Ones.
League Ones. Why? That means our football here is dying.
It's very low.
It's very low. Our coaches here. Time comes where even I've been like we're playing some of this game. A coach, someone will come and they say, "Coach, bring me a lousy team so that I beat it." So that because he wants to maintain his position. So all those underground using the phones, this technology is killing up Ugandan football. It comes from obsession. It comes from at times they don't look at some other areas as places where they can get the national player.
I think
So these are the
during
areas.
Mulindwa's era, it was a little bit fair because you look at the likes of Majid Musisi, you look at the likes of Dos James, who played for Villa. You talk about Obua himself. You talk about Oloya. I think it was a little bit during his season, but during Magogo's era, I think things have changed a little bit so political, whereby, although they try to say most of the players who comes from West Nile, they are indisciplined. I haven't known yet that properly, but for me, what I know, I think they are trying to market most of people from Central. Yet, breakthrough is from Northern Uganda, or kind of. So, like, how do you select your national team? Could it be on merit? Because if you look at the selection, this one is playing from this club in America, this one plays in the other club. We don't follow them. We don't know what they are doing there.
What makes one to go to America? What makes one to go? Like there was a time when Samson Sissokoto was at its highest. I expected him to have gone maybe in South Africa or some of this North African. They took him to Vietnam. Now, what does that thing show us? Where is football in Vietnam?
Where is football?
So, Vietnam is known because of war, not football. Now you can see this is the message which we do. And then secondly, we have got these categories like under 16. They always fed up. They come to a certain stage, you see this under 16, this is, then time comes whereby you'll find those names keep fading. You'll find nowhere to be seen. But let me bring an example of Nigeria. Nigeria had this Kodak World Cup under 17. Those boys were maintained, and then the government took over them. Then eventually, it made Nigeria become one of the powerhouse because of football. So because they maintain them, because they work as a team. Because if you can pick someone under 17 and then you make him go as a team, they are, even the president disallowed any club to take them. They were playing as a team. So all this system of ours here, football has to change. Football has to change. Me, I would rather prefer individual football should be abolished. Morris comes from nowhere that I've got a team called Arua Boys in Arua here. He starts off from there. Then time comes whereby he will be beaten up. He doesn't have the finances. Things doesn't work well. Now what comes next? The team goes. Where will the players go? Where will the players go? So we should come up with this age system. Now, in comes again, now in primary. There are some of these boys who are big. Now they're cut off from football. Now where will Ghana football go? Because under 12, under 14. Now where will those ones go? They go to senior, they will start off football.
All right, course. Well, let's first give attention to some of the areas. And I would like to, there's one constant here that I think Maurice will not appear on camera. I don't know how true is that. But that is a comment here on one of the timelines. There's a big guy who's following us. His name is called Gift Kizito. Thanks so much for always being. It's a camera error. I thought about that. I think our technical team will work on that one shortly. Let's first talk about Molindwa and his actual back rooster that he has kind of elected to see that in the 4 years that they will be actually staying in office. He'll be working closely with them. Actually, before we correct the camera error, let's first talk about the executive that he has kind of elected. One of them is Rogers, actually, Rogers Boyamukama. I don't know he's in which region. I'm going to find out that.
That is.
Then Edgar Rasul of West Nile. That's obvious. And then there's Agnes Mugena, then Issa Magola, then Danny Obote is actually into the system, then Frank Uncle Zeri, then Dr. Apollo Akimisibre, Rodas Murindwa, Roni Kalema, then we have Dio Muta Mpazi, and then Ronald Ba Terente. Those are the excoms that actually Morindo will be working so closely with, and they have got 5 actual strategies that they think in these 4 years they'll work actually in these areas. One of them is youth development and academies. That's one of the priorities. And then the third one is infrastructure development and clubization. So those are the reasons that are so core that actually Morindo has kind of put forth in here. Then the fourth one is continuous support for national teams across all levels. That's the fourth one. Then the last one is enhance governance and transparency in football administration. These are the priorities that Morindo thinks his core actual executives will be working closely in these 4 areas.
Yeah, that's very good. But the fact is that Ugandan football has left out all the legends. If Ugandan football, in fact, of all these names that you have called, I only hear of Obote. I know much about Obote. He played in
Dan Obote.
Dan Obote. He played even in South Africa. He tried there, and then he played in Oba. He was in Nile. So, if they are to involve in this list, if they are to involve maybe legends, they will give them the best of it. But if you go with some of these names, you forget about the legends, they are just going to sink. Even if you start an academy. Even if you start an academy, because I've really seen most of this, if you look at Europe, most of those administrators in European football are those legends. You'll find this one is in charge of this. Edu is in charge of Arsenal. This he once was a player there. So this is the thing which Uganda should do. We should bring people like Onyango, let them come in on board. We should bring people like Obua, let them come on board. We should bring people like, in fact, there are so many names which can come in. Those legends, let them come in. Those who have the potential, let them give in so that we see how they can improve Uganda than men football. And if you look some other areas in other games, football is lagging behind.
Netball is number 1.
Netball is number 1.
Okay.
Athletics are doing very well, but football is declining. When every day the number of people who are playing football is more than even the half of the population of Uganda. But out of that, when shall we ever go for World Cup?
All right.
Focus on World Cup.
Thanks so much, Coach, Dogo standing in there. Let's first talk about the Ghana actually cream team. I remember Mori Orchestra and Freddie Mhumuza, they're the leaders who got to the spearhead in Uganda in the CHAN tournament. Remember, it is in East Africa, in East African actually host kind of setup. It will be Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania to host this year's tournament. Morris, let's talk about the players who have been actually omitted actually from this squad in here. You have Vipers actually Meton Karisa. He plays as a winger for Team Vipers Football Club. Then we have Paul Muturezi, who plays for NEC. He has been omitted from the actual team of Uganda Prince. Then we have the AC Villa trio in the names of Charles Luanga, who is a goalkeeper. Who plays for AC Villa. Then David Owori, and not forgetting Semakula. These are players who have been omitted. And Dennis Unango has been called into the technical team of Uganda Cranes to help the team in the goalkeeping. In the goalkeeping. Yes. Then looking at the Crane squad in general that has been retained per now, see that they prepare ahead to face other teams like Algeria, teams like Guinea, teams like South Sudan, South Africa, and then Niger. Looking at the goalkeepers, one is Mutakuba Joel of Bull FC. They do have Crispas, Kusima Crispas, who plays for Chitara Football Club. They have Chigundu Dennis, who plays for Team Vipers Football Club. And then they have got Hannington of Team NEC. He has been so
very effective.
Yes, for Team NEC Football Club. Remember, NEC finished second, and they will be representing Uganda in the Cup, after Confederation Cup in there. Then the defenders include Gavin Kizito of KCCA. We have Watampale Lazaro of KCCA, Herbert Atai of Express. We have Odong Gideon of NEC Football Club, and then we have Otoras Rajos of Vipers. In them we have Mukundan Hillary of Team Vipers Sports Club. In there we have Moyer Nicholas of Bull FC, Odong Arnold of AC Villa, then Otit Ronald, who plays for Chitara Football Club. Then the midfielders include Kimero Samir, who plays for NEC. I think he was called actually to replace the player in the names of Ronald Setsiga, and who was crossed over to APR of Rwanda. Then I have young man Marvin, who plays for Sports Club Villa. Then for Vipers in there, you have Serunjus Joel, who plays for KTCA. You have Ngondowe Elvis, who plays for AC Villa. You have Alan Okela of Vipers. And then you have Patrick Kakande, who plays for AC Villa. And then Jerome Chiria, who plays for Bull. He has been social influential for Bull. Remember, they finished third on the log. You have Sabagala Enoch, who plays for NEC Football Club. And then you have Karim Watambala, who plays for Vipers. And then the forwards include Anyama Emmanuel, who plays for KCCA. We have Ahimisibe Ivan, who plays for KCCA. KCCA has just newly signed him from Team URA. We have Osama Judy Semugabi, who plays for Chitada Football Club. And then we have Eunice Sentamu of Vipers. He has been so influential. And then we have Padre Regan of Team AC Villa. Maurice, let's talk about this kind of selection. It's mostly dominated by AC Villa and KCCA.
I think
why actually this kind of setup?
I think it's if you look at the squad, I think KCCA have 6 players. AC Villa has 4 players. 4 players. Most of the 5 players. Yeah. Then most of the clubs like Vipers, they're having 4 players. I think this one shoots on, I think, based on merit. These players have been playing so well. If you look at the goalkeeping department, no doubt about the goalkeeper of Vipers, they are the champions. The second choice goalkeeper could be the one for NEC, who finished second. Bull comes in there. Kitara, they've been doing so very good job. The question now will be, will these guys catch up together with the coaches and follow the philosophy and catch up with the system? That's the question now. But if you look at the players by merit on the ground, they are fantastic. These are good players. Now the only question, will they manage to follow up the philosophy, as Coach has said? Will they follow the system? Do you have enough technical guys on the bench to help the coach who is going to be one? They brought in Onyango. That one is no doubt one of the best goalkeeper in Uganda. That one is no doubt. So who are other people in the other department? It starts from even the fitness coach. You look at the assistant coach. So the question should be within the technical department. Are they really ready to make these boys go do wonders? But the boys are very okay.
All right, Coach, let me pick your point of view actually in a coaching perspective here. A team in the names of Chichara Football Club who were kind of having a lot of fracas. Remember, their chairman left the club, and they did actually announce that they are looking for players, and most of the players have left the team because of financial issues, and they've gone on to appoint former assistant coach to Waso Bosa in the names of George William Lutalo to become now the head coach of the club. Remember, Waso Bosa still remains the assistant coach of Team Chichara Football Club. Remember, he has been the head coach, and he's going to pursue more actually coaching there. He wants to attain what we call CAF actually A to see that he becomes a phenomenal person in Ugandan football. What kind of sense is that? Actually appointing a second assistant not to become the head coach.
I think here there must be groundwork on that, because as you said earlier, maybe the time whereby the first choice coach might be leaving for some of these coaching course might have been very near. That's why they now want the other second coach to take over earlier, so that these boys get to know him better, and then he has to come with this philosophy so that these boys adapt it very fast, so that they can play a good game earlier than before the league starts.
All right.
Those are also acceptable. Maybe they have gone in agreement. That
there was a mutual agreement.
And if there was that mutual agreement, it cannot split the team. But if there's no mutual agreement, it will split the team, because other players are not going to give respect to the assistant coach. So those things can also make the team also have some problems. So in most cases, as I told you earlier, why has the team got all those problems? It is all just because this is a personal team, whereby someone manages it as a personal team. So this is where at times I said this Ugandan football, if they could come up with the parastatal bodies, they come in, let them at times give some of these all the bodies like we used to have this coffee marketing board, we used to have Nile and whatever. So it could boost up, because there are some players who need only a job. They just need to go in some of these clubs just because he needs to get a job. And then they give some small allowance, they remain there. But this issue of, it brings a lot of problems, because changes, they go there just to beat super division team or this premier, and then next year they are not there. Then another team comes, beeps, and then comes back. Now if you look at Ugandan football, now you look at all these clubs, apart from KCC, which team again? Neck.
What's the company?
I think those are
the teams.
Those are the teams. Now you can see the number is too few. That's why every time they don't get those problems. They maintain the players. They know who player they want for a season. They know where there are problems in departments, which department did do very well this season. Now where can we reinforce it? They know where to go about with it. Unlike some of these clubs which are owned by personal proprietors.
All right, because we're kind of time bound for sure, and this show is already dedicated for 1 hour, and we have gone past time because of issue actually prettiness in there. We kind of apologize to the management, and next time we'll improve on our time management. And the show was really interesting to see that we really give actually the best actually of what we can give to the viewers. Maurice, let me get your parting shots, and we'll leave the studio. Remember, coach is going down after Tumbara. After the show here, we shall be going back with him.
I think every viewer, the viewer was complaining that I was not seeing the camera. I think it was a network error. You forgive the producer because of the network error. I think he did it best. Thanks goes to our sponsors. Thanks a lot to make the Sararights TV move on. We shall always keep on giving you great sports. It has been honored, like having Mr. Jogo Stanley here, who is a friend of mine, who is a technical person like me. Yeah, any carpentry and joinery work, don't even agitate. Just come at Sararights TV and say, I want Jogo Stanley. Where is he? Because he's one of. So that one we shall talk about it next time. Good. Have a blessed evening.
Coach, your party, so always feel free
to
come here.
In fact, today I'm very privileged to come to this studio.
Yes.
Because for the first time I've liked the way things are going on well here. And one way where we can promote this football in our region is through such a way of trying to bring legends to come and talk about football, and then how we can really go in the field to go and maybe start off academy, so that our region should also go up, so that we will one time say thank you very much for your work done. Because if you look, we have been hearing football, but this time people will be seeing it live in front of them. So if you can get a message direct from someone who knows the game, it's always of great blessing. So I've really liked the way how you have conducted yourselves here. Thanks very much, and then keep this spirit up for the betterment of the game. Thank you very much.
All right, next time we shall be having Coach Stanley Jogo, who has been a phenomenal person actually in the world of sports, generally in Western. He has coached actually a couple of teams. Next time we shall always bring him here, and he'll be actually giving us his facts about different opinions in the game of football in Western. And I hope that the Western FA needs to give him that opportunity. Remember, he's still very active in the game of football. Western FA, that's my appeal. Western FA needs to call him, into the team of the Western Province to see that he leads the team with the experience he's having. His actual leadership should not be underrated there. He knows how to conduct himself with some of these players, and these players have been working closely with him, and most of these players knows him very well in there. It has been made zero hosting the show. We're out of here. Next time, we shall improve on our time management. We apologize for that. And this was being actually sponsored by Sabirima Global Actual Ventures Limited there. The sole sponsor of this one, that Byte Designs, as well, poured money into the show. We're out of here. Catch us again tomorrow from 6 to 7. Remember, we never talked about international sports, but really, our apologies to you viewers. We shall improve on that tomorrow. Definitely, we shall give more time for international sports. Thanks so much for always being with Sararights.